Tithe on a budget. Oftentimes, you may sincerely want to set aside some of your hard-earned earnings for charitable work and other offerings to help in God's work, but can't seem to find the means to do so. With so many bills to be paid and numerous expenses each day, there never seems to be enough left for your tithes. However, you will be surprised to discover that there is a way to balance everything off, have enough to spend on necessities, and still be able to give sufficiently for tithing. When you tithe, there is an inner sense of joy that you have been able to give back in some way, and is certainly worth the trouble of having to figure out how to do it. If your heart and mind are set on doing it, there is absolutely no reason why it should not work out. Here are some ways to tithe, even while on a limited budget. Make a list of your revenues. Your revenue is your income from all of the resources available to you and which you make use of for all your expenses. Your revenue would include your paycheck, allowances, commissions, or any other income you are receiving. The sum of all of your revenues is where all costs will be subtracted. Subtract 10% from your entire income. Once you have added up all of your revenues, remove 10% from the total amount, which you will put aside for your tithes. In other words, this is money that you will no longer be spending but will be giving instead as an offering to God through the many different avenues available to you. Learn how to live within the remaining 90% of your income. Prioritize your expenses. If you prioritize your expenses, you can best be able to determine which ones are absolutely necessary and which ones you can do without. As you sum up all of these expenses, study them very well and see which areas you can cut down on. That way, you will be able to have some money left over after all of those expenses have been removed. Pray and do some sacrifice. If your heart is in it, God would surely know, and He would provide you with all means to be able to tithe. Take the time to pray and ask Him to guide you as you work on giving back to Him after all the blessings bestowed on you. Make little sacrifices, especially when you feel you do not have enough to be able to tithe. Sometimes, you may be spending so much more on something that you really want but do not actually need. By trying to give up on these things as a sacrifice, you are able to offer back in your own way. Tithing must not be done if you are not happy doing it. You must always have a joyful heart when you acknowledge and give back to the one who has given you so much. A happy giver is rewarded by an inner sense of elation and even more blessings in return that only God in His infinite goodness can provide.